You're an insurance agent that wants to finally learn how to get recruits without using job boards, exhausting your warm market, sending a bunch of DMs, or anything like that. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact system that I use to recruit 15 to 30 new high-quality recruits into my life insurance agency every single month. This is completely predictable, and it's the type of people that stick around in the insurance space that don't quit and they don't sign and die. This is actually the system that is not only responsible for that alone, it's also responsible for helping Robert in my program, who scaled to the #1 recruiter inside of Global Financial Impact out of 55,000 agents, and also Elliott, who scaled to #1 recruiter in his IMO, known as Experior Financial. It is always creating #1 producers in my program, and I'm gonna give it to you today for free. And the best part is that you don't need to have a social media presence, you don't need a million followers, and you definitely don't need to be tech savvy. So let's get right into it. So in order to turn your social media into a recruiting machine, one thing you have to consider strongly is your Instagram account. I've tested TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram for social media platforms to generate high quality recruits, and time again, Instagram always wins as the best platform. With that being said, what you as the viewer need to ask yourself is, can people truly identify what it is that you do, how exactly you help them, how long does it take for them to get results in your insurance agency, and how much it specifically costs to get started? When you are generating traffic to that Instagram account, your sole purpose should be, how can I tell and educate my viewers, my followers, people that are coming on my page, everything that I do in a little digital pocket. If your Instagram account can handle those things, well, your leads are going to be fully educated on exactly what it is you do, exactly what your culture is like, exactly who you are as a leader and how you operate. But not only that, they're also able to tell the little micro questions that they'll come across. A big one is, how much are the licensing fees to get started? How long does it take for me to get results inside of the insurance space? These are questions that all of you already know. It's questions that you generate all the time when you're recruiting interviews. Now, if you're not being strategic on your Instagram by handling these questions, all you're going to do is your social media is not going to generate you leads. You're going to leave a lot of money on the table from people that follow you, and you're going to end up hearing all those objections on your hiring interviews anyways. Let's look at this insurance agent for a second. So first things first is honestly the profile picture. Okay, if we can't clearly see your face in the profile picture, that's automatically a disqualifier, like you're not doing this correctly. The other thing is, you need to look like a professional. That means have a freaking haircut. That means have a suit. Maybe the tie might be a little bit much, but I'd rather have you in that rather than just some like random shirt. And again, it needs to look professional. If you don't have one, you can actually use AI to generate a very high quality one. You don't even need to hire a professional photographer anymore. I have a lot of people in my program that literally just use AI for things like this. So that's for starters. You have to look like a credible professional. The next thing is your follower to following ratio. You should be having more followers than you do following people, just like this person right here. Username needs to be very clear. It needs to be able to say first name, last name. That ways people just know what your name is. If you have some crazy username from like a personal account, you need to change that. You're a business owner now. All right, now when it comes to the bio, we need to clearly identify who we are, which we're obviously an entrepreneur. We're getting very specific on who we help and exactly what we help them do. Right here, you can have like a one-liner on essentially what your expertise is. This right here, 8+ years experience, this is social proof. This is letting people know that he's not a beginner or a newbie. He has 8 years of experience, which is adding to his social proof, which is getting people to trust him more. And then we have a very clear call to action, just like this, that leads people to a booking page. Now, when you're running Facebook advertisements to your Instagram account, ultimately, I mean, this is going to be your bread and butter. If people want to book in right away with you, it should be very clear, very obvious where they do the next step. How can they talk to you? How can they learn about your recruiting opportunity? With that being said, some qualifying questions that you definitely want to have, especially when you're getting people to opt into something like this. Typically what you'll do is you'll have that person's first name, last name, phone number, email. You can acquire what country they live in or what state they live in if you're in the United States, or what province if you're in Canada. With that being said, what I usually like to ask inside of a qualifying question in my form is, can you pass a background check? If they answer no, you're going to immediately have that form disqualify that person and not allow that person to book a call, because we can't help that person. Now, if you want to go an extra level and you're getting a lot of people that are broke on the call and they just don't have the money for the licensing, you're going to add an additional question that says, if I'm able to help you achieve whatever goals that, we discuss on the call, do you have $300 to $500 to qualify to purchase your state financial license? And if they say, no, I don't have that, that's too expensive, then you're going to disqualify that person. If they say yes, you're going to enable that person to book a call with you. Okay, this is how we use disqualifying questions and qualifying questions to be able to weed out and allow certain people into our opportunity and completely boot out the ones that are not the right fit or they don't have what it takes to meet the criteria. Now, when it comes to your top 3 pinned posts, what this client did really well is he was able to put, because he's targeting a millennial demographic where he's going after corporate professionals ages like 28 to 45. Typically, millennials like to see family. They like to see marriages. And so if you're trying to attract that to your agency, what you need to do is position yourself himself as a successful person that is exactly the same archetype as them. So he's married, he had a, professional day where he found a photographer and he, just ultimately took some photos of himself and his spouse, which looks really, really credible. Next to that is ultimately a breakdown on what he does. Okay, so if I'm a new lead and I don't know who this individual is and I came from social media, I'm able to clearly read this post here. And as you can see, he already has some leads being generated from this organically. This is him explaining what he does, what the opportunity entails, how much money potential you can earn, a little bit of storytelling of when he was in the industry and he didn't have to quit his job. So that's handling the objection of like, hey, can I do this part-time? Do I have to do this full-time, right? You guys get that all the time. And then he has a clear call to action to where he's going to send them over a video sales letter that goes over his opportunity. This is very strategic, and this is what you guys need to have pinned on your top 3 posts. Now, this pinned post here is essentially storytelling. This is your opportunity to share who you are, what your story is, why you help who you help, and what gets you up in the morning. Okay, this is amazing brand building, especially for recruiting. When you pin this to your page, it gets people to trust you like crazy. That's something that Joao did extremely well, is tie in his personal brand, which is literally his story of coming from a corporate professional background and going into life insurance. He discusses the pain points. So for instance, for you watching this, if you have a story where either you're transitioning from your job into life insurance or you decided to exit your job and go into life insurance, explain that to your recruiting leads that you're generating from Instagram. This is what you should be putting on your social media account. That ways people can get to know who you are. And storytelling is one of the most potent forms of building trust nowadays in 2026. So telling stories vulnerably about yourself, although not easy, and a lot of you are very private watching this, it is going to generate you more business in 2026 because we're in a trust recession right now. People need to know who you are, that you are credible, and that you stand out from everybody else. There's millions of insurance agents, and they're asking themselves when they're on your page, why should I go with you? Now that we've covered how to build a very strong Instagram presence, I'm going to teach you how to film ads that's going to attract the right kind of candidates that are high ticket A players into your insurance agency, all using social media. So if you're going to film a very good ad, you really have to consider a lot of factors, especially number 1 is that you need to be in the ad. So that means no photo ads and no AI ads. For those of you that are thinking you can cut the corners there, trust me, they don't work. I've tried them. What makes a good ad is you have to, again, look like the professional you are. This comes down to your tone of voice, your tonality, how convincing, how confident do you sound that you can help this person. Number 2 is ultimately your dress attire. You need to be dressing like a professional. You need to look credible. You can't be wearing some random t-shirt. I'm telling you, you're not like a really big face brand like Tony Robbins or anything like that. You don't get to wear gym t-shirts on these videos. People are judging you from every nook and cranny as to how can this person help me, and that goes down to your clothing. I recommend business professional, if not business casual. That typically performs very well and generating you a lot of leads from quality people. The next thing to consider is your background. As you can see, these 2 clients chose 2 good backgrounds. One is in the office. The other one, this person went to a nice location. You can go to golf courses. I've had clients that go to their uplines locations and film in their homes if you don't have a photogenic house. I've had clients with really nice houses just go in their backyard or on their balcony. This positions you as somebody that has social proof, right? You just look rich. You look like you are the person that can help somebody get out of where they're currently stuck in, okay? These are all things to consider when it comes to creating a good ad. In the first 3 seconds of your script that you create, you need to directly call out exactly who you're going after. So for an example, if you're wanting to target a richer demographic in the corporate professional realm, I would say something like, hey, you're already a successful corporate professional. You already have, the house, you have the kids, you're already living a good life, but your time is capped, X, Y, and Z, okay? That needs to be stated in the first 3 seconds. So that always you clearly call out who you want, and it's going to weed out anybody that does not fit that type of demographic. So when you go to film your ads, it's really simple how this works. You're going to upload those ads to Facebook Ads Manager. You're going to set up the campaign as an engagement campaign so those leads can get the chance to look at your professional Instagram. Now that you know how to build one out, they're going to send you a direct message. From that direct message, you're going to have a conversation with that person, and simultaneously, when that lead is having a convo with you in the DMs, they're going to go through all your Instagram content and get to know you, and they're going to be qualifying you as much as you're qualifying them, which is really important. The lead is going to familiarize themselves with you, and ultimately, through that direct message appointment, you're going to book your recruiting interview. You're also going to have that calendar within your link in bio, just in case that person wants to skip the line and they say, hey, I've seen everything I need to see. You look legit. I want to book a meeting with you. You have that accessible for them until you're gatekeeping them, on the direct messages. So that way, you could send it out, when you're done having the conversation with them. Now, with that being said, in between that booked appointment, they're typically going to go and binge watch some other videos of yours just to see, gather more information about yourself, etc. Their trust is overall going to increase by just seeing your face over and over again, which leads to the recruiting interview where you then land a new recruit. In terms of the actual budget you need for this, I'd recommend $1,000 a month in ad spend, which is $33 a day in spend on the actual Facebook Ads Manager. manager, this is going to generate you a lot of booked calls. Okay. If you spend anything less than that, it's typically not going to be too effective. It's going to generate very sluggish leads. Typically what I find is $1,000 a month in ad spend can generate you anywhere, depending on how good you are at closing, from 5 to 15 qualified directs every single month. Now, if you're an insurance agent that lands internal consumption, it's very easy to get your money back on that. If you're also an insurance agent that just relies on overrides and you don't have internal consumption model, no worries. It's going to take you 4 to 8 weeks to get that person trained and get their first sales generated. So expect a delayed ROI on that. But I'm telling you right now, 3 of these recruits generated from this system can really just overall pay for your entire strategy. Now, if you want us to install this entire system done for you inside of your agency, just click the link down below and you'll get on a call with our team and we'll see if you're a good fit to work with so we can install this immediately for you. But let me show you exactly how to close these leads once they book the interview with you. So if you're going to run this type of a system, what you have to be aware about as a closer and as a recruiter is that it is not going to be the same sales process and recruiting process that your IMO teaches you, and it's going to probably take a different script than what you're currently used to. The way I like to think about leads that come through cold advertising like Facebook ads and Instagram ads, etc., is it's kind of like a sales call. You have to be probing questions to that person to be able to expose their pain points, their desired outcomes. You need to get them emotionally and logistically tied to those outcomes they're asking you for. And then you need to go into your pitch, which is essentially your presentation. Now, where a lot of you screw this up is where you guys are going too in depth. You guys are putting on your financial advisor hat on when you're going through your presentation to basically bring them in your agency. Okay, they don't care about that. They do not care about the financial professional stuff. They just want to make more money and they want to do whatever they're telling you to do on that initial call. Now, one of the big benefits you get from building a solid Instagram account and generating your own Facebook leads to that Instagram account is that these leads are going to be very familiarized with you if you do this correctly, and they're going to look at you already as the expert that you are. Their trust is going to be a lot higher than usual. If they show up to that meeting, they're a lot higher intent because they had to get qualified and they qualified you, and so they already did their homework on who you are specifically. And so with that being said, they're typically an easier close because they've already familiarized themselves with your content. With these leads in particular, what you need to do very well is being transparent about things. That means that you need to transparently, before getting on the interview, just completely share, hey, before I got on this interview with you, this is how much it costs to just get started in my firm. You have licensing fees. If you guys make them pay for leads, make them fully aware of what's on the other side. There should be no surprises on that recruiting interview. Also, make sure before this recruiting interview that you have your own social proof that's accessible to them. You can do this by sharing screenshots of the wins that your team has gotten on your downline. So screenshots of commissions closed, so that always the leads can see this is a real opportunity that makes real money. But what you really need to do well is making sure that you don't put your IMO or your company name within your Instagram account. Okay, that's against your company's compliance typically. And also, with that being said, people are going to do research on your company, and if they don't like what they see about the company, okay, for those of you that are in huge, gigantic IMOs, I'll just name one to be blatant, like let's say World Financial Group. There's a bunch of Reddit threads on World Financial Group just talking straight trash on you guys. It's not going to look good before a recruiting interview when a lead's going to do homework. So leave all that stuff off your page. Do not say or show any base shop screenshots or anything like that. They can find out what the IMO is when they ask you directly on the recruiting interview, so that always you can handle any potential objections that that person might have on that company. You see what I'm saying? And then you're decreasing the amount of no-shows that you're going to get when people are obviously going to go do research on your company. Now, when the leads are coming into your Instagram account, you got to make sure you're getting to them within 5 minutes. You're getting to leads fast. There has to be a speed to lead component with this. If you're taking too long to get to the leads, their attention is going to dip off and you're ultimately going to burn cash and burn lead flow. I find it very wise to hire an appointment setter. Typically, we source them in Egypt, or you can find some in the Philippines. They're very budget friendly. They usually cost $5 to $10 an hour, and their sole purpose is just to follow a script to book in that lead that you're generating into your calendar, and obviously ensuring that they're qualified, etc. Make sure that in your recruiting interviews, you are handling objections. Like I said, it's kind of like a sales call / recruiting interview. It's not 100% a recruiting interview. These people are going to have objections. If you're one of the people watching this that just does job postings, you probably barely handle objections. People are literally clicking on your job posting because they want a job. There's no objections. They're going to sell themselves to you. So if your close ratio is super high from a job posting, don't butter yourself up, because I'm telling you right now, when we go to see how you perform on a cold market interview, it's a completely different ballgame. You got to have some sales skills. They're going to hit you with objections on, hey, can I do this part-time? Why do I have to pay $500? All this kind of stuff. And if you have this hat on that's like, oh no, you're not qualified to work in my agency because you're asking all these dumb questions, you're not going to close anybody, and you're not thinking about this the right way. So it's very important you listen to what I'm saying here. I've done over $2 million in ad spend on this alone and generated so many recruiting recruiting interviews and coached so many agents on recruiting interviews, this is what I've came to conclusion on, and I'm giving it to you on a silver platter right now. Here's the thing, the agents that are struggling in 2026 are still the ones that are relying on all the outdated mechanisms. The agents that are going to dominate and that are continuing to win time and time again are the ones that actually have an operational system in place. They built the personal brand, they learned how to use Facebook advertising to generate real business predictably, and they have a machine that just prints out qualified people all the time. And this is the difference between getting 2 to 5 recruits a month versus 15 to 30 per month. And what you don't realize is this system literally pays for itself when you run it properly. You're paying 33 to 40 bucks a day on ads. That's a little bit over $1,000 per month. But if you generate 5 to even 15 recruits from that, you're landing internal consumption and delayed gratification on overrides from the right kind of people that have seen you, vetted you, and went through an absolute intricate process to meet you on that interview. They're naturally going to stick around longer and be more motivated to join your agency. This will allow you to make 4 to 5 times back on your ad spend, reinvest back into the pot to your ads, and scale more predictably. If you want us to build this entire system for you, or you want help with installing it immediately, just click the link in the description below and book a call with somebody on our team. We work with agents every single day, one-on-one, to install this recruiting infrastructure into your agency. So click the link below and I'll see you on the other side.